Is the superhero life a life that everyone has chosen, or did some people do it because Batman gave them the chance? Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read it dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. This is the first arc within the Detective Comics run for Batman and DC Rebirth. 2 days ago, Azrael was being chased around Gotham City by what appeared to be Batman. He tried to fight against him. He tried his hardest to show that you don't mess with Azrael, but he failed. The window crashed open as Batman himself arrived, and he quickly saw a drone watching him, and then he asked Azrael, "Who did this?" And with a terrified look in his eyes, he told Batman, "You did." Today, Batwoman is running across Gotham talking to her father on her communication device. Batwoman is an ex-soldier who took up the life of Batwoman when she decided that she could be more effective as a superhero than a soldier. Her father, though, is still within the military and on active duty within Gotham City. He helped train his daughter to become Batwoman, but he doesn't seem to agree with her mission anymore. He feels as though perhaps she should have stayed within the military, and she doesn't exactly agree as they end their conversation. Once she enters her house, she takes off her costume, and she finds Batman hiding out in there. He holds up a bat-shaped device and he asks for her help in solving a mystery. John Paul Valley was attacked and watched by this drone. The technology for this drone is at least 10 years beyond the highest grade military technology that we have. To make matters more confusing, Batman was able to hack into it long enough to find out that it was a part of a swarm of drones and they were watching multiple people. Batwoman asks him, "Why are you telling me this?" And Batman explains, "I want to take everyone in and retrain them, and I want your help in training the Bat family to ensure they are able to go at this alone." So she asks him, "Why are you asking me?" And he tells her, "Because we are family," and he removes the cowl. Bruce's mother was Martha Kane, and Batwoman's name is Kate Kane. Kate is his cousin, but Kate just smiles. "Damn it, Bruce, I've been waiting for you to admit that." "How?" he asks, but Kate just tells him, "Don't start underestimating her now." He then explains who the recruits are. Spoiler, aka Stephanie Brown, the daughter of the Clue Master who put on the costume when Clue Master was trying to take down the city. Red Robin, aka Tim Drake, is a brilliant tactical mind and will make a good lieutenant for the operation. Cassandra Cain is an engineered assassin now going by the name Orphan. And Clayface, someone who needs a redemption, and him not being watched makes him an asset. Batwoman agrees to help out, but she isn't about to play his game. Batman needs to explain to her everything that is going on and not hold anything back. Batman doesn't even know who he's up against. And as the drones watch his little team, the man in charge of it then asks, "Can your unit face off against an army, Batman?" The training begins quickly and fiercely with holographic situations presenting themselves, such as a city overrun by jokers. But it's sloppy and not perfect, and they aren't working together. They're used to fighting by themselves, and Clayface isn't even used to being a hero. Plus, they keep restricting his powers so that he can learn how to actually fight. Red Robin actually made a device that would allow him to retain his form and limit him to that form. So, with everyone arguing and going off to fight on their own, he asks if he can take it and try to live a normal life. Red Robin tells him sure, and then he goes to talk to Batman to figure out what is going on. Why is this team off of the table while he investigates everything? What is he keeping them away from? Batman brings Tim to Azrael's base of operations to show him the badly beaten man, and his doctor, Leslie Tompkins, sees Tim and tells Batman that it's good news that after Azrael was nearly beaten to death, you got teenagers involved. Batman ignores the comment and tells her that he needs to speak with Azrael, but he can only get out a few words. "The colony is here." Batman and Tim go to the rooftop where Tim asks him, "What is the colony, Bruce?" And Batman tells him, "I'm not sure. So why did you even bring me into this then? What's with the new costume and the new mission? I was doing fine on my own." "Tim, regardless of you calling yourself Red Robin and keeping yourself at a distance, I've always considered you a Robin. I want you to know that Gotham is safer with you in it and you don't have to keep away." Tim thanks him, and then Bruce asks, "Is there anything else?" "No, Bruce, but there was, and he was supposed to tell him." Tim went back to Stephanie's apartment where Stephanie and Tim are all staying as Stephanie asked him if he told Batman. You see, Tim was accepted to Ivy University on a full grant, the Genius Grant. And he's been debating leaving the superhero life and getting his degree because he feels that he could be more helpful to the world in that fashion. And Stephanie agrees and wants to support him. Because ever since they started to get to know each other, they started dating. Meanwhile, Kate went to see her father as he was putting on a suit and he asked her, "How was Batman's boot camp?" She snapped at him asking if he was listening in on her communications, and he told her, "You shouldn't have accepted his offer." After an argument about where she puts her loyalties, Kate leaves the house telling him that she isn't even sure why she came. Everything is moving along fine until Batman is driving through the streets discussing with Alfred the possibility of a military connection when behind him he realizes that he isn't alone. He calls out for the brakes to be hit and then large vehicles speed past him. He then takes off down a side street and an EMP blast goes off, shutting down the supposedly shielded Batmobile, and it drives into a wall. He leaps out of the Batmobile and he turns around to see dozens of men in Bat-esque looking suits. One of them then speaks up. "There are 50 of us here. We have orders to take you in." Batman jumps on them. "You can try!" Batman gets beaten down badly while Batwoman and Tim are watching the recordings back at the base. They know that Batman has been captured. So Batwoman turns to Tim. Batman wouldn't want help. He would try to handle this privately. And if he did want help, he would only want the two of us to go do it. "What do you think?" Tim asks her. "I think I gotta make some calls," she says, smiling. The call goes out to the team and they all head off. And Colonel Kane, her father, also gets a call asking for help. And he's happy about that. The team all arrives at the base where Batwoman shows Batman getting beat down on the screen. And she explains that Batman didn't tell everyone something. Whoever this is was able to put together a team with the power enough to capture Batman. I'm here to tell you that they're all watching you, and that is why Batman put this together. So I brought in an expert to help with military operations. Then she introduces her father, Colonel Kane. He walks forward asking the important question: why would a military organization model themselves after Batman? Tim tells him, because he built a model worth replicating. That's what I was thinking too, Colonel Kane tells him. You have to assume they have a reason to stay hidden from him. Perhaps he is the inspiration, but they know that he wouldn't agree with their tactics. And they must be after something here at Gotham to remove him from the board. The question then comes up. Where is Orphan? Because she's currently being rounded up by the same unit and battling them on the rooftop. But not just any rooftop, the roof of this base. Tim is in shock. They're here? Then Colonel Kane tells him, I have this. And he loads up a flash drive that shuts off the defensive perimeter. Batwoman's eyes go wide. Dad, what are you doing? And he tells her, my duty. And the ceiling is broken and troops jump in. Everyone begins to get close together, and then another troop comes through the window with Orphan riding him down to the ground. Every soldier then shoots her with tranks until she falls. And the colonel then explains, years ago you came to me for help in becoming something like the Batman. What you didn't know is that I had my own mission here in Gotham, to shape a force that would mimic the Batman. The idea of Batman is a powerful one, but it was pointed in the wrong direction. This is the Batmen of the future, a unit built to fight things on a larger scale than crime in Gotham. He then steps forward and he places his hand on Kate's shoulder. Join us. You called me here today because you needed my help, so join our cause. During this whole talk though, Red Robin was patching into the system to activate something, an escape protocol that is now activated. Clayface wraps the team up in a mud ball, and as it's closing, Batwoman says the words, I trusted you, Dad, and the team drops through the floor. Meanwhile, Batman wakes up bound. He dislodges the tooth and he spits it on the ground, and the room fills with gas. He then stands before one of the men. Where am I? The man stammers. We just called the cave. He turns around to see where he is, and it's a recreation of a bat cave with a complete military training unit, weapons, and vehicles. Meanwhile, Tim leads everyone into his own secret base of operations beneath their other secret base of operations, where he patched into an old train tunnel system and created carts that could get them anywhere in Gotham within minutes. Back with Batman, he walks through the cave until he finds a computer system and he sees a global map. These Batman sleeper cells are all over the globe. A kid walks into the room and Batman throws him down to the ground, demanding to know everything that there is to know about the colony. And the kid wearing a Batman shirt tells him, okay, we're all fans of you here. He explains that he is the computer genius behind the colony's tech, and as he gets a selfie with Batman, he explains that his name is Ulysses. 0 Year changed everything. One man on his own accomplished what an entire military unit could not. Imagine if they dropped a Batman in the middle of a terrorist stronghold, or a dozen Batmen. He then shows Batman footage of the Batmen in action, kicking in doors and shooting up the enemies. He explains that everyone here is huge fans of him, and it's time to take this show to the next level. So Batman breaks his arm. You're coming with me. I don't think so, Batman. And then the Batmen throw him out of the office and into the hallways where more Batmen are waiting on him, and Colonel Kane walks over. Hello, Bruce. Don't worry, their headsets have static so they can't hear us. Uncle Jake, when did you figure out it was me? When did you decide to take my daughter from me? When I noticed you had more drones following her than any of us combined. How about you join us? I don't work for anyone. Figured. That's why I was preparing my daughter. You don't understand, Batman. The League of Shadows is here in Gotham. The League of Shadows is a myth created to frighten Ra's al Ghul's followers. You're a fool, Batman. They are hiding their moves in the actions of others, and you brought my daughter into this to die by your side. Colonel Kane then puts a gun to Batman's head. They'll all come to my side when they see the real war. But that's when Kate is standing near them, surprising everyone as to how she got here. And she asks him, you want me to pick a side? How's this for an answer? And the whole team charges in. The battle rages on with the entire Bat Team versus an entire army of Batmen. Kate explains that they had transportation and right now they are 30 miles outside of Gotham, so it's time to carve a path to the exit. And Clayface grows in size and he creates 2 blades. I can do some carving. Everyone is dropping their own groups of Batmen and winning their battle, so Tim goes upstairs to meet the genius behind it all, Ulysses. Tim wraps him up and looks at the computer, realizing that there are targets all over Gotham, and the Batman army is going to eradicate any potential League of Shadows member. The military would never sign off on this many targets at once, and Ulysses tells him, hey, what they don't know won't hurt them. More soldiers then arrive, and they begin dropping their belts of grenades, claiming that they just went off. The explosions blow up everywhere, and everyone ducks for cover, and Tim begins to ask, what happened? Only to see Spoiler there telling him, they really shouldn't let those grenades go off remotely. Everyone keeps battling until they realize that they need to get out of this base and save all of the people who are targeted. So Clayface makes a bridge leading to the surface, and they all make a break for it. Once they get to the top floor, they find that Orphan's already dropped everyone there, and she's smiling about it. Colonel Kane hovers up on a hovercraft telling them to stop, and Batman drops a smoke pellet, and the whole crew vanishes. Ulysses turns to Colonel Kane. You know what they're gonna do, right? Yes, they're going to alert the proper officials to what we're doing, and they're going to get us shut down. I could send all of my drones off to kill our targets, sir, but we weren't able to trim that list down and figure out who's really in the league. I think the term is acceptable loss, sir. Do it. Batman and the crew get back and they think that they've won. They celebrate. Steph and Tim go over when is he going to tell Batman that he's officially leaving this life, because he's come to his decision. He's gonna go to college. Meanwhile, Batman goes to see Kate and tell her that he's sorry, but she knows what they have to do. Yes, her father was there for her, but it's time to end this. So Batman calls out the president himself to inform him of a secret covert operations branch of this military. Tim sits down to have a look at the data from the cave's computers, and he sees something horrifying. The drones are moving on their targets. He calls the whole team back to the base to inform them that this isn't over yet. He tells everyone that it looks like the unit has decided a few hundred innocents aren't a problem if they hit their targets, and Batman tells them they are all innocent. No one dies tonight. They all run through the city telling and warning everyone to get away from the sites. League of Shadows or not, no one dies. Even that individual with blacked out eyes. But they realize that they can't save everyone. It's an impossible task to cover so many targets. So Red Robin comes up with a plan of his own. He'll hack the drones and retarget them to one target. One person, ending their mission when he dies or he beats the drones. Colonel Kane and Ulysses begin to freak out when they see what Red Robin has done, and regardless of what Ulysses tries, he can't change the target. The encryption is incredible, because tonight, all of those drones are going to murder Tim Drake. Spoiler calls up Batman shouting at him, Tim just programmed all of the drones to attack himself! And Batman's eyes go wide. Meanwhile, on the roof of the Wayne Tower, Tim walks to the edge of it, and he looks at all of the shiny lights coming for him. As they get closer, he tells them, let's dance. Back at the base of Batman, Argus arrives informing Colonel Kane that he is under arrest by the command of the Commander-in-Chief. And Ulysses informs Colonel Kane that Red Robin is actually winning. He's taking out each and every one of those drones. The Batman have moved their floating airship in an attempt to escape, but Kate won't let her father get away as she arrives on it and jumps out of it, holding him, bringing him down to a rooftop. You shouldn't have done that, Kate. And she sucker punches him before calling up Batman and telling him that she has Colonel Kane in custody. But she warns Batman, this is about to get worse. There's a second wave of drones. Batman tells her that he called up Nightwing to try and get Midnighter's help with the door teleportation technology, but it might be too late. Meanwhile, back with Tim, he lays on the roof out of breath, and Batman calls him up. Tim, get off of that tower. Just need to catch my breath. Are the people safe? They will be. Good. Hate to think I broke all these ribs for nothing. I think I got shot in my leg. The shock's wearing off. Tim, what's that? I think I hear. Tim looks up and he sees the second wave, and he sees double the amount of drones coming at him again. He knows what this means. Through his heavy breathing, he calls up Batman again. Bruce, don't say it! Tell them I'm sorry. Tell them how much they all meant to me. Dick, Jason, Damian, Alfred, all of them. Thank you for everything, Bruce. Robin out. Tim! He then calls up Stephanie. Steph, can you hear me? I'm almost there, Tim, I'm almost. Listen, Steph, these last few months have been incredible. You've helped me discover what I wanted to do with my life, the kind of man that I could be. I wish I could be there for you. Steph hits top speed on her motorcycle and she begins to race through the streets, hoping beyond hope that she can make it. Tim, don't hang up, stay with me. I love you, Steph. Goodbye. He then stands up, bracing himself with his staff, and he looks at the drones. And then, he's riddled with missiles and bullets. They report that the target is eliminated, and the mission is over. And everyone heard it on their comms. The world has lost another Robin. Batman falls to his knees, grasping Tim's staff with his blood all over it, as there were so many explosions that it appears to be the only thing left. And as Batwoman lands, he demands to know where Colonel Kane is. Later that night, Stephanie returned home to see Batman there waiting for her. With a sad look in her eyes, he asks if she's okay. He wanted to make sure. He wanted her to know that Tim died saving hundreds of lives. He put the world before himself. The greatest heroes always do, and he'll be remembered for that. He chose this life, Stephanie. We all did. We all knew what the cost may be. She walked over to a table, and she grabbed a letter. You don't understand, and she handed him that letter. As Batman began to read Tim's acceptance letter to college, his hands began to tremble, and he dropped it to the ground, realizing that Tim intended to leave this life. He then held Stephanie as she poured her eyes out. Elsewhere, in a pitch-black room, a crack of lightning goes off and Tim Drake finds himself on his knees, prepared to die. And then he looks up. Hello? This isn't the colony. Where am I? A man in a hood, holding a staff, walks in. The same man who orchestrated the Doomsday incident for Superman. Mr. Oz. The man behind everything. Mr. Drake, what a pleasure it is to have you join us. I don't understand. I remember the missiles hitting me. Am I dead? To those that loved you, yes, you are. Tell me where I am! You were connecting threads that could not be connected. You're so loved, so deeply intertwined that it became crucial that we take you off the field. That's where you are. Off the field. Mr. Oz then begins to walk out of the room as Tim shouts, "My friends will come!" And that concludes the first arc of Detective Comics. Mr. Oz is the individual that's been popping up, and there's a lot of theories as to who Mr. Oz is, but we have no confirmation of it at this time. For those of you wondering, Mr. Oz apparently is the man behind the entire DC Rebirth. And if you watch that first episode, he is apparently the man that took away 10 years from the DC universe. It's a giant conspiracy, and I can't wait to see what's gonna happen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Comicstorian, where we can discuss your theories, and Instagram, where you can see some images of these comics as I put them out. I'll see you guys next time right here.